Breaking right now, Harry and Meghan's Netflix deal finally dead, with bosses just waiting for the credits to roll on the $100 million contract with no appetite for anything new after dismal viewing figures.
So here we are. After all the hype, PR gloss, and carefully staged candid photo shoots, Netflix has decided the Harry and Meghan experiment is done. The $100 million deal that was supposed to be their ticket to financial independence, Hollywood relevance, and lifestyle in Montecito security? Dead. Not, maybe we'll talk later. Not, let's renegotiate terms. Dead. And no, this isn't just a contract naturally running its course. Industry insiders say Netflix is quietly letting it expire because they've had enough. The buzz is gone. The numbers are embarrassing. The brand is overexposed. They didn't deliver.
Now, this exclusive comes from Rob Shooter. He is the highly regarded long-term US entertainment correspondent. I will already put out a little warning here, which is that I fully expect the Sussex PR machine to go into full denial mode, within minutes. But the reality is the fundamentals of what Rob is reporting is true because it backs up what I have been reporting for literally months and months and months. Any new deal will be for vanity and nothing more. Any new deal is still going to leave the fake Duke and Duchess on the poverty line, which is why this is so significant. So we'll get analysis from our royal mastermind, Prince Harry's biographer, Angela Levin, in just one moment. But first, let me take you through these new exclusive details emerging from Rob Shooter, who writes, Netflix is done playing royalty. Shooter Scoop can confirm Meghan Markle's multi-million-dollar streaming deal will not be renewed when it expires. While still technically active, insiders say the streamer is quietly preparing to sever ties once the clock runs out. They're letting it expire without drama, one senior Netflix exec reveals, but there's no appetite for anything new. The decision comes after With Love Meghan, a heavily promoted lifestyle series, landed at number 383 in Netflix's global rankings, far below expectations. She had everything going for her: name, platform, press, and the numbers were dismal, a source says. The streamer had previously teased a second season, but insiders clarify the footage was filmed alongside season one as a cost-saving strategy. There is no actual renewal, the insider says. It was baked in from the start. Even more damaging, Prince Harry's Polo docuseries came in at number 3,436 with only 500,000 views worldwide. The interest just isn't there anymore, one source says. They went from buzzy to background noise. The final season of With Love Meghan will likely air later this year, Shooter says, but behind closed doors, the verdict is already in. The deal is dead, says the source. They're just waiting for the credits to roll. Angela Levin, utterly damning, and this report will plunge Prince Harry and Meghan Markle into crisis. Because this is not only reputationally devastating, Angela, it is financially devastating. Where are they going to get the money to pay the bills?
Well, I think Harry's been trying to get it from London. He'd pinned his aid and tried to get some money down there. That's what I think. But that's, you don't know, do you? The problem is that I think ordinary people who would have looked at that, everything that she'd done, and see that perhaps they can learn something, be a bit sophisticated, and follow what a member of the royal family is doing. But actually, it was all rubbish. It looked awful. It tasted awful for a lot of people who tried it out, and it was done in a very superior way that the really, really rich people wouldn't want that. And the more ordinary person about, having children around and wanting balloons and all those things doesn't want a nice little bowl of different fruits on them because, any old person can do that. And I think she's just not amiable. You don't find that she's a warm, nice, careful person who wants to really please you. You feel that she wants to grab it, she'll get the money, and then to go on to the next thing. I think that's what comes across. And I always believe that the ordinary people in this country or around the world actually can see through it. Not at first, but she was very rude to her friend to say she's got the wrong name. It's all about her.
Netflix wanted royal prestige plus Hollywood storytelling equals guaranteed global hit. What they got was one bombshell docuseries full of royal grievances, a cancelled children's cartoon, a couple more low-ranking, low-engagement shows.
The one thing that's very interesting is that Netflix has got a sort of one thing that might save her, and that is the co-CEO Ted Sarandos. I mean, he's sort of come to the rescue because he says, I think Meghan is underestimated in terms of her influence on culture. I think that's the last thing that she's actually done anything interesting in. She's gone to a couple of games, but I don't think that that is actually culture myself. But he thinks she's wonderful. And so then we might be surprised by something happens. But the average person who works for Netflix does not want anything about it. And I think creeping away is a very good idea. And I think with Meghan, she often pretends nothing has happened when something's bad, something in the newspapers on TV is bad. She just pretends it's not happened, and I think that's what will happen again. Harry's not so good at it, but I think she is. She just pretends it never happened. So things would be like that. But I'm pleased because she's been so awful about it. And actually, she keeps thinking that she's being, the most extraordinary woman in the whole world. But perhaps this will be a lesson that actually she's not. She's a very ordinary woman who actually can't manage what she really would like to do.
Big news! Outspoken is now available as a podcast too. So please do subscribe wherever you get yours, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and make sure you rate and review. I'll take 5 stars, if you may. No, I think you're completely right, Angela. And of course, the numbers don't lie. I also think you're right in terms of pointing out the friendship between Ted Sarandos and Meghan Markle. Now, I have reported for some time this all goes back to the fact that he is in a mixed race relationship, and she has very much played on that. She took, you'll see it there, Ted Sarandos's wife to the Beyonce concert previously. They haven't been seen together, though, for a long time. But I think all it means, Angela, is there might be a vanity renewal. So there might be some type of, we don't want to offend Meghan, we want to keep her in the mix, we're going to keep looking at projects with her on an individual basis. But the point is, it's never going to be one of those huge, big banker deals, the type of deals that obviously Harry and Meghan needed to secure the type of billionaire lifestyle they want to have in Montecito. Because remember, they're competing, Angela, in their own minds with Gwyneth Paltrow, with Oprah Winfrey, with Ellen DeGeneres. These were all people who had massive deals for years and years and years. And what Harry and Meghan have proven is that nothing they touch commercially works. It has all been a disaster. They are effing grifters, according to Bill Simmons at Spotify. So that's a problem, Angela. This was also, just taking this into the royal domain, this was also King Charles's worst nightmare. I reported many months ago now, his big dread is that Harry comes back cap in hand asking for money because he doesn't feel like he has money to give.
Yeah, that's right. I think it's very wrong, and the way that Harry does these things is very aggressively demanding. He feels that he was wiped out what his father gave to him when he and Meghan left in 2020, all in a rush. He made sure he had £3 million to actually give him comfort, so it wasn't going to be difficult for him. I mean, £3 million for you and me, that's enough for a very long time. But he leaves that out. He said his father gave me no money, number one of many liars. And he just doesn't accept that. And just the same as he says his father can actually deal with the court and the country because he's a the king, he can't do things like that. And actually, why should he keep on giving him money? He wanted to get away. He wanted to be free. We heard that when on the plane out of the UK, he was delighted he wasn't there, and it was the freedom, the sign of freedom. But actually, he feels is much more in a prison than he actually was before he left.
I know that's the irony, isn't it? But Angela, also, this Netflix news today obviously links in with what we have been speaking about for the past week, which is why Prince Harry has gone down this desperate bid to use the British mainstream media, to use the tabloid press that he claims to hate so much to rehabilitate his image, to bring him proximity back to the royal family, because, of course, there is nothing else left. But Angela, I know you've been very angry over the weekend, looking at the mainstream media, these British newspapers increasingly attempting to, in your words, destabilize the British monarchy by sort of almost like trying to suggest that Harry and Meghan have to return. What's going on here?
And a PR circus every time the Sussexes made headlines. You can see why Netflix is quietly walking away. 3 possible paths from here. The reconciliation route. Harry swallows his pride, mends fences with the royals, and accepts a more minor role for stability and maybe financial safety.
Well, I don't understand it, but actually, they're supporting Harry, they're supporting Meghan, and they haven't apologized, they're not behaving well. They are absolutely both appalling people, natures, what they've said in the last 5 years. But instead of actually accepting that, they've been very nasty about Prince William, they've been very nasty about the king. And a lot of them are saying, well, it's their responsibility. Otherwise, you don't know what Harry's going to get up to. Well, I do understand that there's a problem about Harry's mental health, but I don't think they mean that. I think they just mean that, it's your responsibility to look after him, especially on William. He's Harry is 40, nearly 41. And so why on earth should William be responsible for such a big baby? He should understand it himself. And I think that it's awful to do that to William, who is very busy. He tries to be a good heir to the throne. He tries to look after his father. He adores his wife and looks after her. And I just have said this before, and I say it again, that he can't forgive Harry for being incredibly rude about Catherine, saying she was chosen because she was a sort of right shape, and she was just right for a royal, but actually he's married for love, I think, which is an awful thing. And he was awful about William describing a private part of his body in a most revolting way. I mean, he's tried to get back at him in hideous ways in Spare, and just talking to anybody who wants to talk to him. The one in May and the BBC, again and again and again, rude. Now, how does he expect his father to give him masses of money when he's incredibly rude? I think, as I've told you, that a meeting on a balcony was a test, because it was only there for 10 minutes, and by amazing chance, a photographer went by. But this was showing that to see if Harry would leak it. And of course, and Meghan leaked it. And so, you can't actually start trying to bring things better if all that's going on. I don't believe that a photographer will be looking up at the balcony as he walked along. I don't think that's possible. And there they are, taking pictures of his aides, Harry's aides, when they arrived. So they knew what was going on. So who told them? They just happened to be there? No. I think they want a massive amount of money because they haven't got it, and they're going to fight for it. Not nicely, not kindly, not saying, look, even just using, I'm so sorry. And even if he doesn't mean it, you can say it. But I think this is a demanding, and he's got to have this. And the tail end of everything, or start the beginning of everything, is to apologise to Meghan. And they're so cruel, they're so nasty, and I do feel very, very sorry for Prince Charles, King Charles, because I feel he's doing his best. He's not well. He manages incredibly, amazingly well. But I think the whole thing is
Well, yes, and they're coming for
absolutely
him too,
nasty.
Angela, which I will get to in just one second. But first, I wanted to show you just some of the examples. I think people outside of the UK will be shocked at the mainstream media conduct over here, how they are trying to present this situation. And the first example that I've got here is with Narinder Kaur, a long-term royal hater, pro-Harry and Meghan Sussex Squad member, being given all of this time on the Jeremy Vine show to just spread utter bile about the royal family. So this is the type of nonsense we're getting, Angela. We're trying to be told, oh, the royal family need Harry and Meghan back. What rubbish! What
What
utter
for?
rubbish!
I mean, she should have been asked, can you give me 3 or 4 things of what they need him for? And she won't know because she doesn't know how the whole thing works. I mean, it is absolutely ridiculous to let her go chatting away like that. And it's so spiteful and nasty. I know that this is how she feels she can earn her money because the nastier she is about people, the more people go, oh my goodness. And that's what she gets paid for. Um, everybody makes their own way in life, and that's what she does. She loves being ghastly about the royal family. And actually, you can't suddenly turn the royal family into being black. I mean, it's an absurd conversation that, and it's got nothing to do with Meghan's colour. And if you see the number of people of all different colours who actually speak against her and think she's disgusting, pretending that she's black when she isn't, and using that affect them as a country. And I think that's it's very nice to hear and very nice to see, but they understand that she's just a ghastly woman. And this awful woman, Dorinda, loves to be powerful, and she shouts and she just says lots of things that aren't true, or it's a lot of rubbish. But I don't know why they like that, but I think they get people to watch, and it's pretty shameful, but there we are.
Yeah, exactly. It's called troll farming, I think. But Angela, you have a theory because these awful reports emerged at the weekend, really going for King Charles, and they were very, very personal in the Sunday Times at the weekend, involving Highgrove, his garden at Highgrove, and a so-called exodus of gardeners, where he's been accused of sort of bullying type behavior. But Angela, you have a theory that actually this is all to try and make Meghan's loss of staff seem acceptable. What's really going on here?
The solo Meghan move. Meghan pivots into solo lifestyle ventures, brand partnerships, off-fashion beauty lines, though she's yet to prove commercial staying power. The fade out. They slowly slip from the headlines, living comfortably but far from the A-list they envisioned. But one thing certain. Without a big new deal, that $100 million Netflix era will be remembered as a peak of brand Sussex, followed by a sharp, visible decline.